Hey YouTube. Today I wanted to talk to you about the 3 things that I wish someone had told me before I became a software engineer. The first thing is that software engineering is a lot more than just programming. So whenever I thought about what software engineers did before I became one, I thought it pretty much just meant writing code at a computer, making sure that that code was free of bugs and ran. But once I became a software engineer, I realized that it's a lot more than that. Software engineers design, implement, test, maintain, deploy, monitor, and extend software in order to solve business problems and fulfill a business's needs. Some people do get paid just to write code, and these people are generally called programmers or software developers. But it can be confusing because sometimes people call software engineers programmers or developers. But when your title is software engineer, you're going to be doing more than just writing code. This brings me to my next point. Number 2, I wish that someone had told me that a software engineer doesn't have to be a math or programming genius. When I thought about what software engineers or programmers did professionally, I figured that a lot of it would be implementing really smart algorithms that required a lot of knowledge of discrete mathematics and logic and maybe even calculus or linear algebra. But what I discovered is that a lot of what software engineers do is use pre-existing software, algorithms, code that someone else wrote, and then find ways of gluing those things together in a way that solves a problem. This doesn't mean that you don't have to understand logic or math in order to be a software engineer, but you don't have to be extremely good at those things in order to be a great software engineer. So what do you need to be really great at in order to be a great software engineer? Not only do you need to be able to write code and solve problems from a technical sense, but point number 3, I wish someone had told me that software engineering requires a lot of soft skills. This means things like active listening, effective communication, public speaking, writing, as well as sometimes conflict resolution and persuasion. Also things like managing your own emotions when things get frustrating. And trust me, things do become frustrating sometimes as a software engineer. So why do you need these soft skills in order to be a successful software engineer? It's because a lot of what you do as a software engineer goes beyond not just writing code, not just designing, implementing, or maintaining code, but also figuring out how to deliver value to a group, like a business or an organization. So a lot of that involves talking to people, being in meetings, listening, and asking good questions in order to figure out what is really at stake. What is the real problem? What does someone really need done? What do they need to accomplish? And what do they need their software to accomplish? The software that you're going to write and maintain. This is all bundled under what is sometimes called gathering requirements. In other words, figuring out what your software needs to do. Another aspect of software engineering that requires soft skills is developing consensus. Often, people don't necessarily even know what a problem is or how to define it. And even more often, they're not sure what the solution is or how to implement that solution. What technologies, what software libraries or applications to glue together or create. Sometimes you will have an idea for how to accomplish something, but maybe someone else has a different idea or they're not convinced of why your idea is the right idea. One soft skill is being able to check yourself and check your work and make sure that your idea is the best idea that anyone has come up with so far. But then you also need to be able to effectively communicate that with the rest of the stakeholders, people on your team, maybe your boss or even your boss's boss, especially the customers that you might be working directly with. You need to be able to tell them, hey, here's my idea, here's how we're going to do it, here's why it's the right idea, so let's go for it. This can require a lot of back and forth, a lot of active listening to make sure that you are definitely hearing what they're saying the problem is, and that they are perceiving that they feel heard, and that you're also looping in everyone else's ideas and making sure that everyone is moving towards a consensus on what the problem and the solution are. Another soft skill that you need is to be able to manage expectations and keep your feelings and thoughts and beliefs in check, because creating software is really complex a lot of the time. And you need to be able to say, okay, I don't exactly know what's going on right now, but let's move forward with our ideas, create something, test something out, and then go from there. You're almost never going to exactly get it right the first time when you're tackling a big software development problem. So you need to have some patience and some persistence. So these are some of the soft skills that you need in order to be a successful software engineer. These three things: that software engineering is not just programming, that you don't need to be a math wizard to be a great software engineer, and that you need a lot of soft skills to be a great software engineer, are the three things I wish someone had told me before I became a software engineer. Hopefully, if you're thinking about becoming a software engineer, or if you're at the beginning of your software engineering career, these ideas can help you make some decisions about what to learn and what you want to do in your career. Thank you.